Today we're going to be discussing the many takes that actors sometimes have to do and how you may sometimes feel very worn out or mechanical will be the most common complaint that I'm hearing about. But also, and what's really crucial, and I see a lot of actors do that, is that as soon as you know that you're going to have an intense emotional scene, an intense emotional scene, and that you know that there's probably going to be many takes, you start shrinking already. Not even after the many takes that you start having a problem, because you get drier and drier and you get worn out and you become less organic, less alive, and it's more like a repetition of what you've already done, or you catch yourself hoping to do as good as you did in the first take, and so you're attached to the result, and therefore you're not present, and therefore you're not open, and therefore it doesn't work. So that's what happens after the many takes. But what I often see is that not only does it happen after, but it happens also before, because the pressure and the stress that you put on yourself because of the many takes makes you go in like this. And therefore, if you go in like this, well, you're shrunk, right? You're not really present, you're not really connected, you're not really there, you're not open, you're not free, you're not instinctive, etc., etc., etc. So it's a question of like, oh, trying harder and trying more. And I think everybody's been there. But what I'm seeing as really bothering is that, doing the many takes can be very enjoyable. It can be blissful to just go back into a scene that's so intense where you've put your own heart in there and it's really important for you to go back to it and back to it. And unfortunately, actors don't have that relationship with the many takes. Actors usually are very fearful of doing many takes, are resenting it, or resisting it, or trying to find tricks out of it. And in a way, I think what's sad is that you end up avoiding a big part of what your job is, which is to really be able to be present and open take after take and not to make it a problem. So you might think that the many takes that you sometimes have to do in the business is the problem, and that is what is making you less good take after take. But what I would like to discuss today, and the angle with which I would like to look at this, is that the problem is not the many takes. The problem is something else. There's a root cause to you freezing and shrinking during the many takes, but it's definitely not the real issue. And of course, if we don't talk about the real issue, which is the root cause of why you are experiencing getting dry and shrinking and feeling mechanical, and when you're having to do many takes, well, we won't get to really be able to enjoy them again. And since it's really part of your job, and you could just be able to be on set and to be looking forward to many takes because you get to do more and more and more, well, then you're kind of missing a whole piece of the cake of being an actor, right? So let's rewind, back to a long time before you were a professional actor. And I've done some rewinding here because, as you've seen, the set has changed. We're traveling, and we're now in my husband's family at his mother's place. So this is why it looks like ancient behind me. We're in Switzerland, Lausanne. So yeah, let's rewind to before you were an actor. When you were a child and you were playing with your toys, whether you were an actor or not, you were playing, right? So you maybe were playing with trucks. I'm going to say some cliches right here, right? Some dolls, some trucks, some Play-Doh, whatever it is that you were playing with, you were acting. So you were being a character and you were making that character do things, and then there would be another character. It was all pretend, right? And if you remember, and if you don't, I'll remind you, you didn't have a problem with doing the many takes. That was the whole point. My daughter is 5. She's crazy for The Lion King. Every single morning, she'll turn on not the radio, but she'll tell Alexa to play The Lion King, the music, and she will reenact the entire movie by herself. And some scenes are more meaningful to her, And she will ask Alexa to replay that part, replay that part, replay that part, so that she gets to do the many takes, right? So you're now an adult and you're fearing the many takes, or you get dry because of the many takes, and you're not as organic or as instinctive because of the many takes. But I'm asking you to look at before the time when you were an actor and you were playing, whether you were reenacting some Lion King scenes or whether you were playing with your Play-Doh, you were entering the world of little characters and you were playing over and over and over the same scene. And the reason why you did it is because you enjoyed it. You wanted to feel the experience of it over and over and over again. You were playful. You just wanted to feel it again. You were curious for sensing it again inside of your instrument, hearing that voice again, doing that move again. You were still interested in what was going on with your character. Now that you're an adult and that you've been conditioned to be good, to be better, to fit, now that you've been judged all your life and you've been asked to be better, to improve, to be like others, you've been compared to others, etc., etc., well, you're trying to do it right. You're trying to do it well. You're trying to be good at your many takes. And therefore, you leave the dance floor. Therefore, you're not really present. You're not really doing your job of giving life to this character every single moment and re-experiencing it because you enjoy it. You're not doing it. You're not there. You're outside, wanting to be good, hoping you'll be better, trying to do it right, trying to do it the same. So you're not present as an adult because you're stuck and looping in your conditioning. Your conditioning, which is your parenting, school, culture, every single thing that has told you you're not good enough, you're unworthy, you're ugly, you're too little, too tall, too loud, too sweet, too this, too that. Everything in your conditioning has asked you to not feel, not sense your impulses, not feel your emotions, not speak out, not have your own opinions. It's asked you to behave and suppress and polish and look at others and be like them. It's never encouraged you to be yourself. It's never encouraged you to live the moment. It's encouraged you to do everything but live the moment. So, of course, you're a child and you're playing and you're being a character, and all you want is to eat that scene all over again. All you want is to experience it again, to feel it, to fight for them, to defend them, to hear your voice. You're wanting to live it. But never, when you're a child, you're wanting to please. Never are you wanting to be loved in that moment. Never are you wanting to do the scene well in that moment. You're not trying to be right in the scene. You don't have that concept because that concept is BS. It doesn't exist. It's not truthful. It's our conditioning that makes us believe there's an outside authority out there that can judge you, and when they judge you bad, you get consequences. And since you don't want to feel that, well, you drank the Kool-Aid and you little by little started formatting yourself in order to correspond to what people outside of you wanted from you, or what you thought they wanted from you. And you've been trained so well to figure out what others want from you so that you're good, loved, appreciated, validated, so that you're right. But none of that exists. The only thing that exists is you, the character, and your experience together, and you enjoying that. And when you stay in that moment of enjoying it and being there for them, and not me, the actress, being there in order so that they love me, or that they see that I'm good, or that I did it better than the other take, or that I managed to do it as well as my first take. All of that has nothing to do with you and the character. That's ego shit. That's conditioning shit. You don't need that. It's preventing you from being present, from being an artist in the moment, from being alive, from being instinctive, right? And that is your conditioning. So you understanding this is one thing. But if you're not training this capacity to actually be yourself, if you're not undoing all the conditioning and rewiring yourself to be free, to be instinctive, to be you, and therefore from there to be purposeful, there's no way for you to get there. Your brain can't get there, right? Because again, it's been trained to never go there. Your neural pathways in your brain go into the other direction. So no matter how much you would want to go on set tomorrow and say, okay, now I want to do the 10 scenes because I want to, 10 takes because I want to experience it over and over again. Your system won't want to. It's been trained to please, trained to be validated, trained to be liked, trained to be good, trained to be better. None of that is interesting for you or the audience. In the world of art, none of that matters. Actually, it's very detrimental for any performance that you would do, for any artistic activity, because your job as an artist is to actually remind us of what it's like to be human and to have a perspective and to be unique and to perceive the reality in the world as you perceive it, and only you can perceive it. So if you're busy trying to please and be liked and be validated and be right, you're not here. You're not living your experience. You're not even enjoying it. So if you want to be able to enjoy your experience 20 takes in a row and to be impactful, therefore, 20 takes in a row, because you're enjoying it, because you're interested, you're not trying to be impactful. It's just the result is that you'll be impactful because you'll be there. And if you're thinking about doing it right, you can't be there. So it won't work, right? So voila, if this makes any sense, and if you really would like to really just look at your planning and go, oh great, there's that big scene. I'm sure we'll have to do many takes of this. I can't wait to just jump and jump and jump and do it again and again and again, because it's going to get so juicy and juicier, and I'm going to, have the experience of the delicious moment every single time. Then I urge you to look into undoing the conditioning, unlearning your resistance, unlearning all the formatting that was shoved into you, down your throat, at school, at home, so that you can go back to your whole, complete, beautiful, instinctive, and free self. Okay? All right, guys. Thank you so much. Goodbye from Switzerland. Ciao.